Morning. I am here with my giant mug of tea to talk about morning alignment and the power of it, and why it's a game changer, and how you can create super flow. Here's what we're going to be talking about in today's video: the power of having a morning practice and why to make it non-negotiable for you. And so for you to either commit or recommit to a morning practice. We're going to talk about creating one that aligns with you currently, so where you are right now. And I'm going to give you a whole bunch of ideas. And most importantly, I'm going to share with you different ways that you can amplify and elevate your morning practices to get you into super flow so that you can create what you want in the world. So stick around. I can't wait to dive in and share this with you. So welcome to my #1 video on my brand new YouTube channel. I have done a little bit of an intro just to introduce the channel, but I chose for my #1 first video to be around alignment. Why? Because I truly believe it is the most important thing that you can do every single day. And so I really want to share with you why it's so powerful. I would love to share with you some key things that are important to include. And then I also want to help you elevate and expand and amplify what you are currently doing. So let's dive in. So first of all, why have a morning practice? What is the point of it? And just to be clear, doing this kind of stuff throughout the rest of the day is also awesome, and end of the day is also awesome. But today we're talking about the morning and doing this stuff in the morning. And obviously it's a really great way to start your day, to pre-pave your day, to kind of get the energy flowing for the day that you want to have. And that's why it's so, so important to do. So I want you to think about it in a couple of different ways for yourself. And as always, everything I'm going to share on this channel, I'm going to give you some ideas and some ways to think about things, but it's certainly not for me to tell you what to do or to even give you a blueprint or to give you a formula of what you should be doing. My mission and my job actually with this channel is to help you connect more with yourself and your own intuition, and to trust your own intuitive feelings and your own sense of self to know what it is that you're needing. But I want to kind of get you on the path, and I know many of you are on the path, but I want to help to elevate that path for you. So this morning practice, whatever you want to call it. And so, people have lots of names for it. And so just find something that works for you. So I started calling it Hour of Power. I learned that from Jack Canfield. That worked really well for me. It could be Hour of Alignment. It could be whatever you want to call it, right? It doesn't even have to be called anything, but just having something that you will commit to, which we'll talk about in a moment. But I want you to think of it really as this opportunity. It's almost like a shower in the morning. It's this chance to rinse off the day before, a chance for you to start fresh for today and to actually create the energy of the day that you want to have. It's an opportunity to release any negative feelings and thoughts so that you're acting from, at bare minimum, a neutral place, right? We don't want to be starting. It's legit to have feelings that aren't fantastic all the time. I do not wake up every morning springing out of bed feeling fantastic and like joyful. And I don't know many people who do. It takes a little bit, it takes me a moment, right? To actually realign with myself and connect with myself, and to maybe release some frustration or some sadness or some anger or something from the day before, something that's been going on in my experience. So really important for you to honor that you might have a couple of these things coming up for you. And it's a chance for you to actually release them in the moment so that you're not carrying them in to the second day. I will be sharing a couple of ways in which you can do that, and you will definitely see as you move through my channel here, and especially in the videos around guided meditations and energy shifts. I'll actually be guiding you through some ways in which to do that. It's also an opportunity for you to raise your vibe, elevate your vibration, right? Get a higher frequency going on, however you want to phrase it, ultimately, so that you're more magnetic. And you're more creative and you're more open to flow, right? And so when we have a higher vibrational stance, we attract better feeling things and better things, right? Better opportunities. So again, this is all inner alignment, but you get that it's going to create some outer flow for you, right? That's really, we want to feel amazing, and we also want amazing things to show up in our experience. So you're going to see that throughout my channel here, and the things that I share. It's definitely all about the inner shifts and the inner alignment, but it is so that we can create those external experiences, because we ultimately want those. We live in a 3D world, right? We want to have some good things flowing into our lives. And the final reason that I think it's so, so important for this morning time, and whatever you want to call it, is that it helps you connect to the core of who you are before you go out in the world, before you are influenced by other things, other people, right? There's lots of ways in which we can be influenced. So it's so important to have that time for yourself where you connect to the depths of who you are, to the truth of who you are, to what it is that you're all about, what you want to create in the world, right? So there's many, many other reasons I could go on and on about the power of doing this ritual. I'm very passionate about it. It's all of my clients have to do it, right? I mean, again, you get to choose what it looks like, but it's so important to make this a part of your day. And we're going to talk about what it actually could look like for you. So the next thing I'd love to share is some key things that are important for you to include in this morning routine or ritual or alignment or whatever you want to call it, right? So the first thing is to actually, before I get into those three things, the first thing is that you get to choose what works for you, right? That is the bottom line, right? It's like, I'm going to give you a bunch of ideas, but you're going to choose and intuit what actually works for you, what you will actually do, what feels good for you, what feels expansive for you, right? What are the tools and the practices that work for you? Okay. But as an overview, I'm going to give you a few things that I think are really vital to include. So number one is some combination of mind, body, soul. And so what I see, especially in the work that I do, is a lot of times people leave the body out and we can actually move energy really quickly. We can expand our field really quickly by connecting to our bodies. And so I'm going to give you some ideas of different things that you can do, but I want you just to start to think about whatever time frame you decide that you want to do this in. It doesn't matter. We'll talk about that in a moment. It could be you're committing 15 minutes. It could be you're committing 2 hours. I commit 2 hours every day. It's why I created my business, so that I can have 2 hours of alignment in the morning and start my day at 10 o'clock. So it doesn't really matter the time frame, but I just want you to invite you to think about mixing and matching mind, body, and soul. Okay, so that's the first thing. And they could be equal parts, or, you could intuit that one needs a little bit more on one day, one needs a little bit more on another day. Number two is to include elements of releasing and expansion. And so as I said, there's going to be mornings where you're going to wake up and feel fantastic. Great. Then you're just going to go into expansion. There are other mornings where you're not going to feel so great. And so there needs to be a little bit of a release that is going to happen. Again, I'll give you some ideas, but it really could be things like just journaling, morning pages. I know many of you have heard of, I'm sorry, I can't think of her name right now. Morning pages. Apologies. I will add that in the comments. One of the practices I share with my clients is tapping, EFT, right? That's a really emotional freedom technique. It's a really good way to actually clear some energy in the morning. The release actually could look like body work. It could look like something physical to release, right? Some stuck energy in your body. So again, these are just some ideas for you to feel into. And so there's this release and then the expansion. And I just say these pieces because we want to feel good, and I find a lot of times people, especially in the work that I do, don't want to feel the bad things, or they feel like they're not supposed to feel the bad things, right? And so the release piece is really about acknowledging the feelings that don't feel fantastic, that are just part of our human existence, right? And so it's just allowing that to be important. So that you can actually acknowledge it, feel it, and release it, so that when you get to the expansion piece, you actually can expand, right? Because it's really tough to be affirming and saying great things and doing a vision board when you have this other stuff that's underneath. Okay, so that's number two, is really having this combination of release and expand. You're going to intuit what you need on any given day, right? So these things don't have to be they're not set in stone. The third thing I am going to really recommend is an intentional time commitment. So as I said, that can be something that works for you, works with your schedule. We all have different commitments and things going on in our lives. And so I fully get that most people aren't going to do a 2-hour morning practice. I certainly didn't. It's only recent in the past few years that I've chosen to create a schedule that allows me to do that, just because I love it so much. It's just a piece of who I am. And I love how it makes me feel. But you get to choose what that time frame is. So it could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes if you're short on time. I would recommend, if possible, to increase the frame a little bit, half an hour, 1 hour, something along those lines, because it's just this way we can get on with our days, but we have this chunk of time where we're really devoted to ourselves and to the expansion and the release and all of those things that I mentioned. So this to me is not self-care time. I mean, I think that's great. It's not my area of expertise. I think it's great. I think everybody should have self-care. But when I'm talking about a morning alignment, it's not self-care. It's being self-caring and choosing what is aligned for you. But it's not so much about having a bath or, I mean, it could be lighting a candle. I mean, you can kind of actually create it in a way that works for you. So those are the 3 things that I would recommend including. So again, just a quick repeat: mind, body, soul combo, some version of release and expand, and an intentional time commitment. And so my recommendation is for you to start to create your own list. And so that can be on paper, it can be however it works for you, so that you start to have these things that work for you. I'm going to give you some ideas, right? So some movement for you could be something like yoga, stretching, Pilates, running, walking, doing some planks, whatever you're needing in the moment. I'm going to talk about dance a little bit later as a way to elevate, but if that's already in your wheelhouse, definitely bring some of that sort of fluid dance into your movement. Your soul and meditation could be guided meditation, it could be silent meditation, it could be breath work, it could be cards, angel cards, other cards that kind of help you sort of open up to something deeper within yourself. It could look like some visioning, future self visioning, future visioning, visioning what you're wanting to have right now. It could look like inner questioning, right? Where you just take some time to reflect within yourself. What do I need today? What is most needing my attention? What do I want to share? Right? There's lots of ways you can do that. And so, or some other version of just even tea and reflection, right? I mean, that's my thing. I love my tea. And so just having some space to just sort of reflect and be with myself is really soul connecting. Mind, obviously, you could look at things like journaling, listening to something inspirational, a podcast. This is maybe where you bring in your affirmations in a more focused way, a vision board, a life script. Something else that allows you, that's a little bit more mental, but that allows you to changing your thought patterns, right? There's lots of cool things out there. There's so many things that I obviously can't touch on all of them, but really just having this mix and match. And then this idea of releasing and expanding, and then fitting that into this intentional time commitment. And so for you, it might be something you do Monday to Friday. It might be something you do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It might be something I now do it on the weekends. I used to not do it on the weekends, but I actually like the way I might do different things, right? But I like to do it on the weekend because it also creates that flow as well. And the final piece I want to touch on really is how you can elevate and amplify your current routine. And so I'm hoping as I'm sharing this, maybe some ideas are sparking you. I'm going to really suggest that you comment in, below and with some of the things that you do. Something I find works really well is really kind of connecting with other people's ideas and things that work for other people and sort of bringing them in, right? So that you kind of mix and match and kind of create something new for yourself. So that's the first thing that I would say around elevating and amplifying your morning practice is combining things. And so I think that's, to me, that's more elevated. So when we integrate a variety of things, we are actually targeting things much more quickly. So if you can do something that includes some movement and meditation at the same time, or maybe some breath work and intention setting, something I practice and share with my clients is a practice called quantum flow. And so there's lots of great things that we can do that actually combine the mind, body, soul pieces actually in one thing. being, right? And that allows us to elevate and expand. Integration really is powerful. And you will be seeing so many different things that I'm going to have below in the guided meditations and energy shifts. If you want to be guided around some of this stuff, I know I like to be guided. So the second thing is really to start making it intuitive what you do in your morning practice. So it's great to have a bit of a framework, right? We have the time commitment and we have that I want to, mix in the mind, body, and soul piece. But doing the same thing over and over is a great way to start. So if you're new to it, I would recommend that. But if you're not new to it, I would really recommend taking just a moment to intuit, to go within and see what your soul is needing. Do you need to get into your body more? Are you feeling guided that you need some inspiration in your life, right? So maybe you need to listen to a podcast. Do you feel like you just need silence? Do you feel like some soothing music would be helpful for you? Whatever it is, intuiting in the moment what your soul needs and what it needs first, right? In general, I love getting into the body first because it helps quiet the mind and tap into, your meditation. Although there are some mornings where I wake up and it just feels right to go right into meditation. So again, it's about intuiting what your soul is needing and understanding that this is fluid. To me, I always say it's like create the container, which is the soul alignment container or the morning alignment container or the power hour container, whatever you want to call it. You have the container and then you get to choose what goes in there, right? So you can start with a list because that helps you give you some ideas. And then you can start to get into what you're being guided to within yourself. I have a client, I just wanted to share this because it was so powerful for him because there are so many people talking about this kind of stuff, right? All coaches, we're always talking about morning alignment, right? And it is fantastic. And you have to find what works for you. So he was saying, I find if I get up and I meditate in the morning, it actually slows my flow. So for him, he kind of wakes up in super flow. He wakes up pretty flowy, pretty ready to go. And so the work we did, I shared with them the quantum flow, and that's a very integrated embodied technique, and that works really well with his soul group and his energy. And so what he does now is he kind of gets up in the morning, he jumps into this quantum flow. Again, it's very efficient, right? It's doing a whole bunch of things at once. And then he right away gets into his big actions, his bold actions, his creative things, right? And so that is a way in which he creates this super flow in the morning, right? So he realized when he started doing, and maybe he does some journaling, but it's not reflective journaling. He was saying he likes to now do intention setting journaling, right? And then maybe at the end of the day now he does reflective journaling. So I'm just giving you this example because it ultimately there is no right way to do this, right? The only right way is the way in which it sparks you or opens you. And then I would just get into a few other things around elevating and amplifying. Variety is so good because we really want to open up new pathways, new neural pathways, new embodied pathways. We want to open some dormant gifts. So really, again, mix and match and intuit. That's why all of this is so important. Allow space for the unfolding, for the clarity, for the expansion. So even if your time frame is 15 minutes, we're not talking about time here. We're talking about space. We will talk about collapsing timelines later, but we can actually do a whole lot of stuff in a very short time, but it's with the energy of having space, right? Because our soul loves space. We love space. We all love space. Nobody likes confinement, right? And so just allowing whatever your container of time is to feel spacious and not boxed in, right? So just allowing for that unfolding and that clarity and that expansion. And I think the final piece that I would share around elevating and amplifying is really taking up space with your body, opening your field, right? Dance, I mentioned earlier. So doing some intuitive movements with your body. Again, this is just stuff that we are not always, some of you are going to be probably fantastic at it, but sometimes we are not as comfortable with that. I'll talk about sound another time and using our voice, but using your body, creating some space, creating some flow, doing some different movements, all of that is opening up new pathways, new energies, and again, those dormant gifts, and things are going to start to come online for you when you do that. So ultimately, you get to choose what you want to do, but please choose something. I'm so passionate about this because, yeah, whatever it is, however long it is, I will guarantee that your day is going to be entirely different if you do it, right? In a great way, right? It doesn't mean we don't have bumps and things that happen along our path in our day. But if you choose to take this time in the morning for yourself to realign or to align or to expand and elevate your alignment, it will pay you back tenfold, a hundredfold even, right? So I really do recommend this. And I hope that you will take there. I hope there's something here. I believe there's always something that we can grab here, right? So some of this may be, yes, I know it, I do it. And maybe there's one little tweak you can take from this. For some of you, this may be new and you're just like, yeah, I'm going to try a little piece of this, whatever it is for you. What is it that you can take from this that will allow you to commit, recommit, amplify, and elevate your morning routine? And what I would love for you to do is to share below in the comments what it is that you do that you find works really well. So you're kind of putting this out into the vortex, you're putting this out into the field for someone else to take, and then grab someone else's idea, right? So here, this is opportunity to mix and match and to weave in something new or to create something brand new that you've never done before. And so I really invite that openness, right? That again, if you're on this path and you've been doing this for a while, it might be easy just to be like, yeah, blah, 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 I know this, which I'm sure you do on some level, right? But it's like, how can I elevate this? How can I expand this? How can I amplify this? How can I access a different piece of myself? How can I open up more possibilities? How can I open up more flow? How can I get myself into super flow? And I will be talking much more in detail on many of these topics that I spoke about today. So look out for those videos. And for now, check out the personal power meditations. It's in the meditations playlist below. And really enjoy amping up your personal power. It's a really great meditation. I think it's probably under 10 minutes, but it's just a way for you to connect to yourself and to amplify your power. And I would love for you to subscribe if you feel that you like this kind of content and you would like more support in elevating and expanding yourself, your life, your business, your career, your impact, your income, and all of the soul gifts you came here to share. It's all connected. We're just starting at the beginning with this inner alignment, but there's so much more to come. So can't wait to share. Have a great week, and I will see you next week.